So today the movie which I am going to explain is named Train Spotting, and today our story will show the problem of drug addiction in the 90s and how the problem of drug addiction was spreading among the youth at that time. So today, our story is going to be the story of a loser boy named Ron who gets addicted to drugs along with his friends, and slowly his whole life gets ruined. So this story starts from the city of Edinburgh in Scotland, and the time is 1996, and here we see a 26-year-old unemployed boy named Ron. And Ron is a drug addict who lives with his parents in their apartment, and Ron has no goal in his life. He just remains intoxicated with drugs all day long, and here in the next scene we are shown Ron's four closest friends during a football match, and their names are Bun Park, and all of them are drug addicts. Like Ron, and Ron's third friend is William, who is a little older than him, and William is an aggressive alcoholic drinker, but he does not take any drugs. Rather, he is a very heavy drinker, and he was also a very aggressive man. And Ron's fourth friend is Robert, who is a young football player, and Robert does not take any kind of intoxication, and Robert is the only one who always advises Ron to quit drugs. And in the very first scene of the movie, we see all of them near a drug dealer named Dobby, and Dobby makes them shoot heroin for money. And at this place, Ron has also taken drugs many times, and here Bun and Park also take drugs with a girl named Allison, and when all of them are drunk here, then at a little distance from them they see William and Robert, and both of them support them all. They are making fun of Ron, and they are saying that it is not good to take any intoxicant other than alcohol. And here we see that at Ron's house, Ron's parents are very embarrassed by Ron's addiction, and thinking about his parents, Ron tries to leave these drugs, and he also tells Swing here that from tomorrow he will not come here anymore. But here Swing laughs at Ron because Ron is his oldest customer, and he does not trust Ron at all that he can leave taking drugs. Then with a new hope in his mind, Ron keeps all the ration items in his house so that he does not have to go out of the house. And after this, we see that Ron locks his house by keeping all the food items in his house, and along with that, he also hits some wooden sticks on his door with a key so that he can leave if he wants. But now Ron is feeling very anxious due to taking the drugs, and to avoid this anxiety, he starts thinking that he should take drugs one last time to counter the effect of the medicines he has taken. Then Ron removes the sticks that he has put up himself and calls a drug dealer, and from this drug dealer Ron takes 2 OPM tablets. But due to taking his anxiety medicines and this drug together, Ron's stomach gets upset, due to which he has to go to a batting shop and use a dirty and damaged toilet. But after seeing the incident that happened with him today, Ron once again becomes more serious to leave the habit of drugs. So here Ron's friend Ben also starts helping him in this work. To leave this habit of drugs, both of them divert their attention from drugs and go to the park for some time, but there they shoot at a dog, and that dog starts biting its own owner, and after this, Ron convinces Kevin also not to take drugs, but here Kevin says that today he has an interview and he will need drugs for today. Then Ron gives him a drug named Speed, which gives him some confidence, but here we see that due to the drug that Kevin has taken in the job interview, he becomes very hyperactive, and he is answering every question very fast. But his speed is so high that HR is not able to understand his words, and he does not get the job here. And after this, all of them meet in a bar at night where William buys some drinks for all of them, and here William recently. The story of what happened here starts to tell everyone that beer throws a glass of it on the people dancing below, and that glass falls directly on the head of a girl. That girl gets a very deep injury on her head. And when these people complain about this, then William starts fighting shamelessly, and William is beaten up in this club. But Ron and all his friends are watching this fight from above because it is William's old habit to fight like this after drinking alcohol. Now one day Ron goes to Robert's house to take the ladder of a football match because Robert is a football player and he has ladders of all the football matches. But in those videotapes, Ron finds a romantic tape of Robert and his girlfriend and Robert who is exercising here. He does not realize that we have secretly kept his private CD with us. Now, after coming to the apartment and watching that CD of Robert, Ron realizes that due to his addiction, he never got into a relationship in life, and now he also needs a girlfriend like everyone else. Now, Ron tries on many girls in the club, but all the girls here already have boyfriends, and no girl is single. Then Ron sees that a girl named Diana is standing alone at a place. Then Ron goes to her and talks to her and starts seducing her. Then Diana takes him to the apartment and both of them spend the night together. After this, the next morning, Ron starts having breakfast with Diana's parents. But he is shocked to know that Diana is a school student and her age is still less than 18 years. And now the police can put him in jail for being intimate with a minor. After this, Ron comes out of his house with Diana and he tells Diana that we cannot live together. But Diana tells him that I like you. And if you try to get rid of me, then remember, I will go to the police station and file a rape case against you. Now Robert and his girlfriend come to know that their tape is missing, and they both start looking for it in the whole house. And Liz shouts at Robert a lot for playing that tape, and she breaks up with Robert and leaves the city for fear of her reputation being tarnished. Ron never tells Robert that he had stolen the tape, and to get over his breakup, Robert takes his 4 friends on a trip to the mountains. Ron takes them to swing, but his 3 friends are missing their drugs, and they also refuse to go trekking with Robert on the mountains, and decide to take drugs again, and they go back to Swing's place. And here this girl named Allison also takes drugs here, and she also keeps her 4-month-old daughter with her. And here all these people are getting drunk in front of that little child, and here all of them do not pay any attention to that little child in the intoxication of their heroin addiction. And after a few days, when Ron and his friends do not have money left to buy more heroin from Swing, then Ron goes one step further and he starts stealing. Then Ron starts stealing from his house, and he first steals money from his house, and when he does not get money at home, he starts stealing car spare parts and selling them. Now all of them spend the whole day intoxicated at the swing center, but Robert is very sad due to Les's departure, and he also stops paying attention to his football and his exercise. One day he comes to the swing center and asks Ron for drugs, and he also gives Ron money for this, and after getting the money, Ron injects him with heroin, and in this way Robert, who was a simple boy, also comes in contact with drugs, and Ron, who just spends the whole day intoxicated, does not try to stop his friend Robert even once. Now gradually the thefts of all of them are also increasing, and now these people start stealing the medicines and belongings of those old people from old age homes. And when these thefts are stopped, when they are not able to meet their drug expenses, they ask for William's help. William helps them here, and he goes with them to rob the tourists staying in the hotel at knife point, and after taking his share from the loot, he gives their money to all of them, and their addiction continues like this. Then one day, Allison wakes everyone up by shouting, and everyone's intoxication breaks due to her screaming, and then everyone comes and sees that Allison's little daughter is lying dead on her small bed, and because everyone has been drunk for the last several days, no one pays attention to that girl, and that poor girl is no more due to hunger or thirst. And here, seeing the dead body of that girl, tears come in the eyes of everyone, including Ron, and here Ron takes drugs once again to get out of his addiction, and he gives his first hate to Allison so that she can bear his addiction. After this, Ron and his friends take more drugs to forget this incident from their minds, and for this they do thefts at other places, and one day when they are stealing goods from a shop, then some policemen start following them. Then Ron hides and runs away, but Ron and Park are caught, and here in the court the judge gives Park a sentence of only 6 months, but this is Ron's first case here. Due to this, Ron is released on bail. But here the judge orders him to go to a drug rehabilitation center where he will be given a drug called methol to quit drugs. But after getting bail from the court when Ron comes back to his home, then Ron dodges his parents and runs away from his house and reaches Swing's place, and there he overdoses on drugs. And when Swing notices that Ron's health is getting worse, he picks him up and brings him out of his house and puts him on the road, and then he gives some money to a taxi driver to take him to the hospital, and here he takes money from the taxi driver Swaggy and throws Ron outside the hospital, and luckily the hospital staff treats Ron and saves his life. And after this, when Ron is discharged from the hospital, his parents bring him home, But this time his parents decide that now they will lock Ron in a room, and now they will open his room only to give him food, so that this time he does not come home to take his drugs. But now, due to being locked in the room, Ron starts having withdrawal symptoms of drugs, and he gets many types of hallucinations, and in the hallucinations, he sees many strange things. But here, Ron's parents do not open the door, even after Ron shouts a lot, and gradually Ron faints many times in this process, but then slowly 2 weeks pass, and Ron's withdrawal symptoms gradually end, and now he slowly starts getting better, and Ron has injected himself with many drug addicts to take drugs here. That is why Ron's parents also get Ron's HIV test done to see if he has got AIDS or any other disease. But luckily his result comes negative, and after this, Ron becomes completely fresh here. He has completely stopped taking drugs. Ron has left the hospital, but now Ron has nothing to do. So he goes to his friend Robert's house to meet him while getting bored. But now Robert has become a drug addict, and poor Robert has sold all the things of his house for drugs, and seeing his condition, Ron feels very bad for him, and here Robert tells Ron that he is HIV positive, and he also asks for some money from Ron for drugs. Then Ron, seeing his condition, gives him some money and leaves from there. Now, in the meantime, one day Diana comes to his house to meet Ron, and here she tells Ron that he has no future in this city, and he should leave from here and go to London, where he will get a lot of opportunities to do something, and Ron agrees to Diana and reaches London, and he starts working as a salesman in a properties firm. He starts working as a real estate agent and gets a decent salary and a room to live in. Slowly, Ron also starts liking this simple life without drugs. Diana writes letters to Ron from Edinburgh and gives him updates about his friends. Ron starts living a normal drug-free life like a normal person. But one day William comes to his apartment in London and tells him that he had committed a theft in Edinburgh and he has come here to hide from him after running away from the theft. He also starts living with Ron after seeing his house. But Ron has to bear the expenses of all William's food and drink. Ben also follows William to London to become a drug dealer. Then both of them start living here at Ron's expense. They start living here and both of them spend the whole day at Ron's house without doing any work. And from Ron's face, we can know that he is not happy at all with their arrival here. Ron is very uncomfortable with their arrival, but then Ron comes to know from Diana's next letter that his friend Robert has died of AIDS. Then all three of them return from London to their city Edinburgh, and they come to the church and attend Robert's funeral. And here Ron comes to know that Robert's dead body was kept in his apartment with his cat for many days. And when a very bad smell started coming from his room, then his neighbors called the police. And after listening to this sad story of Robert, they meet Park here, and since Park is also released from jail, now he is in jail. After returning from there, Bain tells them about a drug deal, and he tells them that some Russian sellers are going to bring 2 kilograms of pure heroin to sell here. And Bain tells them that if these people have bought 2 kilograms of heroin from them and sold it in the market, then they can get $2,000 by investing $4,000. But Ron is completely refusing this plan. Then Bain tells Ron that, look, we already have $2,000 for this work, and we just need $2,000 more. But Ron says that he doesn't have that much money. But then William reminds Ron about his savings, because William had seen his bank statement while living in London, and Ron sees that both of them are not agreeing, and both of them put a lot of pressure on Ron. Because of which Ron is forced to invest all his savings here. But after that, they give the job of checking the purity of the heroin to Ron, and Ron, who has given up this addiction, now injects this heroin into himself to test it after a year, and from Ron they come to know that this heroin is absolutely pure, and after this, all 4 of them reach London with this heroin. And here in London, Bannon William has already talked to a buyer who is ready to buy their heroin, and here they meet the buyer of that heroin who checks the weight and purity of that heroin, and after a lot of bargaining, instead of giving them $2,000, he finalizes this deal for $6,000, and all 4 of them are very happy with this deal, and they go to the pub and celebrate this deal because now every one of them has to buy it. One member was going to get $4,000, but after this, William goes outside to get more beer for everyone. But then Bane tells Ron and Park that if he had his way, he would run away from here alone with all this money. Now, when Bane goes to the toilet, Ron asks Park if Park will go with him if he runs away with all this money, but Park refuses. But now William is coming back with his beer from Chukchu when a man collides with him, and William gets angry at this small thing and breaks the glass full of beer on his face, and when Kevin tries to stop him, then the knife in William's hand hits him, and seeing this violent nature of William, Ron understands that now William will scare them and keep the majority money with himself and will give them less money after this. At night, when all four of them are sleeping in the hotel room, Ron is awake, and knowing the nature of Bun and William, Ron wakes up and takes the bag full of money from William. And Park also sees Ron doing this, and Ron signals him to come with him. But Park, scared of William, refuses to go with him, and after this, Ron comes out of the hotel with the bag full of money, and after this, he takes out his passport from his locker and goes to the airport, and after this, when in the morning William sees Ron and the bag full of money missing, then in anger he starts vandalizing the entire hotel room, and seeing this, the hotel people call the police, and the police arrest him and take him away, and seeing the police, Bun and Park run away from outside the hotel room, and that is where we see Ron. We see Ron smiling and coming to another country with that money, and now finally Ron will be able to live a good and drug-free life here. And at the end of the movie, we see Park as if he has received a letter from Ron, and Ron has given him the address of a locker in that letter, and when he goes and looks in that locker, Park's share of the money is there because Park never wished him bad. And with this, the story ends here. So how did you like this story? Do tell me in the comment. I will meet you with another new story. Till then, goodbye.